All right, so this is a translation and discussion of Pliny's letters, 616, chapters 17 through 19. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, and you can imply an erat. It was day elsewhere, at a different location. It's where we get the English word alibi when we are obviously talking about people who are accused of crimes. Your alibi is the excuse or is the proof that you are at a different location. And that is indeed what alibi means in Latin, at a different spot. So now it was day elsewhere. There, however, ilic, it was, implied again, a night, darker or blacker and more dense, and more dense, and this is your ablative of comparison. Remember that ablatives, when they are with a comparison, it's not going to mean by, with, because of, from, in, on, at, but they can also mean than. And so a night blacker and more dense than all nights. Which, however, and so therefore the quam is referring to the feminine night that it is. Many torches and various lights were loosening, and so therefore they were not in complete pitch black because they had flashlights for all intents and purposes in the ancient version they're in. That's what focus means. It means torch, and so therefore they were loosening the black night. They were, of course, making it to where it was not so dark. It pleased, and so placeo placere in the perfect tense, to go out onto the shore, in plus accusative, into or onto, and from a most close location, it pleased to check it all out, to spot, to see, and to see whether now the sea admitted or allowed anything. In other words, whether the situation with the sea and the situation with the water is going to allow them to disembark and leave by boat. Which, referring to obviously the sea, still remained manio manere, vast and opposing or facing. So it is essentially telling us that they have no exit, that the sea is not cooperative. And so there, reclining, present active participle, in the nominative, referring to obviously Pliny the Elder, above or on top of, super, a cloth, a sheet, having been thrown down, and so essentially he's having himself a little picnic, making himself at home on a sheet that has been put down once, semel, and again he demands and he drinks cold water, frigidum aquam. Then flames, comma, que, and the praenuntius, the forerunner, the pre-announcement of flames, and the thing that is the harbinger, the pre-announcer of flames, the odor of sulfur. And so they know that the flames are coming, they have smelled the sulfur, which of course, again, in the ancient world, sometimes referred to as brimstone. And what is always paired with brimstone is fire, fire and brimstone. So then, fire and the pre-announcer of fires or flames, and the pre-announcer of flames, the odor of sulfur, that odor, that pre-announcer, and the flames, they turn others, in plus accusative, into flight. And however, for that guy, they, the flames and the pre-announcer of flames, they rouse that guy up. And so whereas everybody else ran away, it just mainly made him kind of like, perk up, as it were. Remember, he is a little bit older, a little bit more of a weight, has asthma, and so we're about to learn the death cause is that asthma. Leaning upon, nitor niti, and this is a present active participle from that deponent verb, to, and it takes a dative object, and so leaning upon initains two little slave people, and so again it is an example of a diminutive in which you have olus, and so here it is reflecting the fact that these are probably small boys. He arose, asorexit, and again he falls. Ut ego colligo. As I gather, as I collect. This is him telling you that he doesn't know for sure, but what he is thinking is the cause.
If you ordered bread and butter, it is here.
Great. All right, so we'll keep going even with that interruption. And so as I gather, with his breath having been obstructed, your spirit is your breath, as it were, with a caligine crassiore. Caligine is going to be from excuse me, caligo caliginus, which is a mist or a vapor, And crassus means thick or fat. And so therefore, with his breath having been obstructed by a more thick vapor, and so this would be the sulfur that was described earlier, and with his stomach, which is more so his windpipe, the whole the alimentary canal is going to be referred to in Latin as the stomachus, with his windpipe having been closed, that which, and so his windpipe, by its nature, for that guy in the dative case, was weak and narrow and frequently inflamed, frequently burning. And this gives us the sense as to the fact that he had suffered, obviously, from asthma, which is exactly the thing that is described. It is the constriction of your windpipe and particularly your brachii to the lungs, making you obviously very much susceptible to choking to death. And that is exactly what happened here. And so therefore, again, leaning upon two little slaves, he arose and immediately he falls. As I collect, in other words, as I gather, it is him thinking as to what the issue was, with his breath having been obstructed by a more thick vapor, and with his windpipe having been closed, his windpipe, which for that guy, by its nature, was weak and narrow and frequently inflaming. And so therefore, good luck, thanks for studying. Hopefully these videos are of some help.